Please sign right here. Let me take a picture of you with the box.
A picture? Why?
It's part of the protocol.
Oh, okay.
I don't need to remind you how sensitive the material is.
I know. Thanks.
Good. Take care.
Russell, did you receive it?
It just arrived.
Good. Listen, priority is to find the real cause of death. Early reports indicate suicide, a drug overdose, but I don't buy it. It doesn't make sense. She was too important and the timing was odd.
She was a lawyer at GoAT, right?
More like the vice president.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. So now you see how deeply in trouble you'd be if anything leaks out.
You're putting me in a tough spot here, Tom.
Not if you're careful, Russell. Just make sure nothing leaks out.
Why not wait for the full autopsy? Why do you need me?
We need to move faster, and if there's something bigger going on, we need to investigate it. This is a one-time chance to catch them. GoAT has been dodging us for way too long.
So you want me to spy on them through her memories?
No, I just want you to find out how she died, which is legal. But if I'm right, it will take us somewhere nasty. I know there's something off. We just need to find out what.
All right. I'll do what I can.
Good. Remember, it's because of these people we're here in the first place.
Well, we don't know anything yet.
We will, Russell. I've been in this for too long to know it's not just suicide. You'll see. So, I've given you access to her apartment on Stratford Avenue. They're about to wrap it up over there, but Detective Stan Becker's waiting for you. He knows you're coming. If you want to investigate the real place, you should head out there now.
All right. I'll check it out.
Okay then, I'll leave you to it. Don't keep Stan waiting, and keep me posted on anything you find.
Sure. See ya. There's been a lot of shutdowns lately, and this building's electrical grid is just as old. So I got a backup. I need to start over again. No disk uploaded yet. And I can't keep that detective waiting. The idea was an office-lab hybrid. This is not a pipe.
Hey, Russell, right? Tom said you'd come. Feel free to take a look around, but don't touch anything. And let me know if you have any questions. Yeah?
Do you have any theories about what happened?
It's a little early yet, but everything points to suicide. There are lots of loose ends as to why, especially considering who she was. Her laptop, for example, is gone. We haven't been able to find it, so who knows how deep that thing goes. Even so, I don't think there's a possibility someone sneaked in and forced her to take some pills somehow. But don't take my word for it. We don't even have the full autopsy report yet.
Who found her?
Didn't you get the report? It was her husband.
Do you know anything else about him?
His name is Alex. Pretty average guy. Fitness trainer. The victim had kicked him out a few months ago. They were about to get a divorce. He came by to pick up some stuff he'd left here.
Could he have been angry about the divorce?
Yeah. But as I said, she'd been dead for at least 6 hours before he got here. So if somehow he forced her to take an overdose over the phone, then yeah, he could have done it.
Did she leave any children or family?
No children, no brothers or sisters, foreign parents that she didn't see much. For now, that's all I know. And a husband. Pretty regular corporate profile, if you ask me.
Who found her?
Didn't you get the report? It was her husband.
Thanks.
No problem.
Visioni Simultanei, a futurist painting. Interesting choice. Go AT's new project. Probably her last meal. Looks like where the body was. G-Zac sleeping pills. You need a prescription for these. Broken. Alex's clothes, probably. Bloody footprints. She probably stepped on the broken shards. Another broken mirror. I don't think it's a coincidence. Generative design and automated construction. It's getting late. Goes with the style of the place. Probably the things Alex came to pick up when he found her.
Yeah?
Who found her?
Didn't you get the report? It was her husband.
What time did he find her?
The morning after, and called right away. The security cameras corroborate the time he arrived, so we don't have any reason to suspect him.
Thanks.
No problem.
Okay. I think I have enough information from the real place. Time to find out what her memories have to say about what happened. I can't believe the loss of performance after adapting them to comply with the new laws. Times are changing indeed. This is the first thing I brought in here. I really need a new partner. Hard to replace Carl, though. Carl liked to read this nonsense. I never figured out how such a great scientist was able to pour so much time in reading clickbait articles. He once said he could draw global connections through them. Upload is ready. I've got nothing to put in there. Development logs of patch 1.2. Probably the most important update to date, and Carl's last contribution to the project.
All right. I have a temporary solution for when Evie can't interpret some part of a memory, but it requires manual input. So, let's say the data was a chair. While Evie can't interpret it is a chair, or where it should be, she's still able to produce a 3D geometrical output with sound, and that output is based on data which does have meaning. The problem is that it doesn't fit anywhere, and it doesn't make sense to her. So, what I did was to allow Evie to still represent this failed reconstruction in an encapsulated manner that we can look at, inside the memory space, so we can interpret it. I made a quick interface for inspection too. So, in other words, we can now assist Evie at interpreting the data by using our special human skills. We just have to tell her what it could be and where it should belong, and she should be able to narrow the margin enough to make it part of the reconstruction again.
Question. Is it always about something missing, like a chair or another object? Or can it be a subjective thing that doesn't belong anywhere?
It could be a subjective thing, yes, but that would be rare, as it's more likely to become a subjective entity or part of the subjective environment somehow. Shouldn't be represented as missing data.
Okay.
Can happen, though. Would be interesting to see.
Yeah. This is great, Carl. We're so close. Okay. So, reason to celebrate. We can now make an objective reconstruction.
So, it worked.
My original approach didn't, but the machine learning approach did.
These are your memories you're using, right?
Yeah, for now.
Cool.
So what I did is to isolate a memory of a specific place, and then made the machine compare it with real footage of that same place, taken exactly at the same moment that the memory was made. So instead of trying to find out how to filter a memory out of its subjective experience, I just let the machine attempt it through trial and error. It basically iterates reconstructions of my memory by randomly filtering unclassified data. And the random reconstructions that match the footage the most get selected, and a new round of random reconstructions begin. Eventually, the filtering is narrowed down to data that is more and more reduced in size. And after a while, the solution is basically the same as the footage, just more glitchy and blurry.
And did you test it with different types of memories?
Nothing too extreme in terms of emotional distress yet, but yes, all types of memories and places. I've been carrying a camera for quite a while now.
I like it, but I think that you still need a bigger test pool to truly call it objective. I mean, you could be introducing bias by how you're making these memories.
That's true. But currently, the places consistently match in size, shape, color. The sounds are getting clearer. While it's not perfect yet, it's robust enough to be certain that if anything bigger than, for example, the size of a tennis ball appears in an objective reconstruction, and if that isn't too blurry or glitchy, it means it was just there. The error margin is simply too small now.
Cool.
Yep, and the cool thing is we can start classifying and understanding this data now by going backwards.
Yeah, I want to take a look at that.
It's all uploaded.
Awesome, Russell.
Evie, ready?
Yes.
Okay, good. Please operate on patch 1.2. And scan for the latest memory you can find, ideally just before her death.
Understood.
So this is when she died. Interesting glitch on the clock. Reconstructing glass from memories. I don't think we'll ever get it right. Afternoon light. Didn't she die at night? Lots of missing information here, Evie. This doesn't seem to be the right moment.
Yes. I wasn't able to pinpoint any further coordinates. Objective data is incomplete.
Reasons?
High emotional state.
She might have known she was going to die. Is there enough data to reconstruct a subjective state of the memory?
Yes.
Good. I'll enter the subjective state and see what I can find.
Subjective reconstruction was successful, but I couldn't interpret all data.
It's fine, Evie. Subjective interpretation is tough for any AI, even a special one like you. I can't make sense of this sound. Could this be her as a child? And the objective, adult version of her isn't represented. Only her shadow.
It belongs somewhere in the memory, but I cannot interpret it. I need to know what it is and where it belongs.
All right, I'll study it and put it in the right place. Could mean so many things. Evie, there seems to be a bugged reconstruction here. No way to fix it, right?
There is incomplete data linked to this coordinate. Shouldn't be too far.
There was something here in the objective state. Evie, do a match with clock data at this spot. Someone's knocking at the door. A picture of a dog. Following her?
Reminder. At your discretion, I can momentarily free memory and processing power to deliver more accurate feedback. Processing. I can't interpret the new raw data, but the spikes in the readings suggest an intense, violent moment.
Her laptop. If it's in the objective state as well, then somebody did take it. Maybe this is the right moment. So the laptop was here. She even took the time to write something. A spider web. No way out. No mirror. Seems close. Maybe in the objective state. Evie, do a match right here with a mirror being violently broken. The water is running. The mirror shards are making a trail to the bedroom. What is this hand doing here? You were right, Tom. She wasn't alone. Should be good enough evidence to keep him satisfied for now.
Should I shut down the simulation?
Please, go ahead.
Understood. Shutting down in 3, 2, 1.
Hey, Russell. Any good news?
It wasn't a clear reconstruction, but I managed to get some objective evidence. There was a clear hand next to her, just when she was lying on her bed, and the pills were all over the floor. So it seems you may be right. There was definitely somebody with her.
A hand. That's all you could find.
Well, Tom, I'm just getting started. Her last memories are fuzzy, and that's probably because of the psychological stress she was under. The fact that she wasn't alone is a good start.
Yeah, good to know. But we need to know who it was so we can do something about it.
I'll keep looking, Tom. Let's just hope the rest of the memories are in better shape.
I hope so. Did you find anything else?
I saw her laptop. I could hear her typing something. You guys didn't find it at the crime scene, did you?
Somebody did take it. But whoever did is a ghost. We saw the security cameras. There was no one. Alright, this is getting interesting. What else did you see?
I saw a lot of other things. I just need to understand her unconscious better.
It's fine, Russell. Just keep looking, but I need something else from you. We need to get into her private email. The password? We were able to hack the words, but there are 3 numbers at the start that we don't know. We have only a few shots at this, so that's why I need you.
Her password? That might be interesting to find.
Hey, I'm liking this attitude. I was expecting some moral and legal sermon.
Well, it's not like I'm not worried. The new regulations are like stepping on glass.
Don't be. You're doing what's legally right. Just send us a nice and clean scan and inspection report as required, and there will be no issues.
I'll do what I can.
Good. We're counting on you. The password ends with Namas. N-A-M-A-H-S. But it's preceded by 3 numbers. We have 3 to 4 tries with this password at most. So when you have something, call me.
I will. See you, Tom.
Bye, Russell.
Okay, so now, besides switching states, we can actually sort of fast travel to different memories and events inside that memory. As we know, time is still an issue, as you can go back or further in time inside a single memory. So, I thought it would be handy to have some sort of database of memories and their events as you reconstruct them. It also captures visual references as you progress, so it will help us remember a bit about each reconstruction, as it gets confusing sometimes. So this is very rough, but basically what you do is choose a memory from the subject's lifeline, and then if that memory is split into sub-events, you can select them and reconstruct that specific moment in time. It's pretty simple, actually.
That's very handy.
Yep. And if you ever manage to do that objective filter, I made it easy to divide each event into objective and subjective, so they can be selected through here as well.
Thanks for thinking about that. We will make this work.
Well, we've already talked about it, but I'll say this. Even if it doesn't work, we'll reach that truth through subjectivity itself.
Don't let anyone hear you saying that.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Very minor upgrade to the control panel this week. If we discover raw data, then try to use it somewhere, and then forget to pick it up, Evie will know where we left it, so she can recall it. I put a small input there in the control panel to do just that.
Perfect. I'm absolutely going to forget them.
Yeah, I was thinking of you.
Okay, on my side, I coded a small feature this week as well. If you need feedback from Evie about anything, she can now temporarily use more resources to process it. Technically, she will use more RAM to freeze a lot of secondary processes and then continue from that image. And if the RAM is not enough, she'll use our disks. So basically a lot more processing power will be available for a few seconds, and the memory shouldn't shut down.
Perfect. Great.
Just a quick update on Evie. We've uploaded a few more natural language modules that have really improved her speech. But the biggest upgrade is a module that allows her to learn from us. It does use some processing power, but it's worth it. The biggest gains occur when she is actually on a conversation and being challenged, instead of relying only on big data analysis. So since she's learning from us all the time, we should try to speak to her naturally. Be polite with her. Explain things. Correct her when she makes linguistic errors, and so on. The clearer our language, the clearer she'll be when trying to interpret data to us later.
Is it on?
Yes.
Okay, Russell. I think it needs just a few more days. I could use some testing, though.
Count on it. This weekend?
That'd be great, but weren't you going to meet with Laura?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. Monday then.
Cool. So, subjective entities. As we decided, the understanding of subjectivity should be handled from different angles to avoid bias. So this particular angle is all about allowing the data to speak for itself, so to speak. I didn't want to rush into applying any concept we feel safe to talk about yet. So I first isolated data that had these characteristics: lack of particular location, lack of predefined shape, lack of overall consistency, a strong erratic influence on other memory data, and of course that AI doesn't get close to interpret it. So with this data, instead of forcing Evie to interpret something out of it, I allowed it to sort of latch to human and animal behavior patterns. Let me explain this. I mapped thousands of different behaviors into patterns, and then allowed the machine to brute force similarities between these patterns and the original uninterpreted data. If these are found, they can complement each other, because after a while, the data will have some behaviors more suited to itself than others. And with a little push, they can work as a vehicle to express the data. It's still far off to get something objective about it, but it allows for a lot of guesswork about what is the subjective thing that's going on in the memory. For example, let's say the subjective data is some sort of tense nervousness. Then there is a chance a subjective entity is introduced into the reconstruction to make sense of some of the data that has a behavior typical of tension and nervousness. I'm aware that there are layers of interpretation here, but thankfully the pool sample is huge, and the good thing is that we can do investigative work with this. If we analyze the data carefully and start to challenge these behaviors, it can't lead to an objective conclusion, but it can lead to something if other aspects of the memory support the hypothesis that can come out of these behaviors. What do you think?
I love it. It allows us to investigate further without closing any doors.
I knew you'd get it. It's just having a bigger expression range for the subconscious. That's all we need for now.
Should I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so after some serious wrestling with time, always a complex subject, we have a new feature for our time-based reconstruction problems.
Interesting.
Oh yeah. So since it's difficult to freeze one specific moment over a large space, there's always the chance that time variations are too large and that they introduce errors to the reconstruction. So when Evie does find a part of a memory which has a range of moments available, like for example, someone walking from his room to the backyard, and sometimes it's not enough time to make it a different memory event. So what I did, in order to make use of that information, is that if that room-backyard range fits into the maximum time threshold of the event, Evie will now introduce a control that we can use to warp time on that specific object, instead of choosing one part and discarding the rest, so we can see the whole sequence without disturbing the rest of the memory. Thanks.
So, avatars are like a quick adaptation of the subjective entity's work. After a while, we've been able to classify subjective entities based on a few characteristics, like aggressiveness, amount of reaction to the other elements in the memory, and a big list that we can go through later. But what I discovered is that some of the entities are fully passive, meaning that they do not express behavior, but other entities do react to them. So, they are part of the subjective behavior web, but passive. So what I did is make a small hack to use their influence at our will. So it allows us to investigate other entities.
So we can control them.
I wouldn't say truly controlling them, but we can move them around and see how they influence the rest of the subjective space. It's only a spatial thing for now, but it can be really helpful to study how the patterns react to each other.
Okay, still working on the on-the-fly scanning project. It's still a long way to go, but I'm moving in the right direction. The head needs to be fully constrained, though. That's what I'm solving right now. Just moving a bit slow with everything that's happened lately. Yeah, logs will probably stop for a while, until things normalize a bit. Finding a password will take time. I better leave Evie working on it. Okay, Evie. We need to find that password. But most importantly, how and why she died. If you can isolate memories or dreams that may have a connection with the password, or emotional patterns similar to those of her death.
A deep search is needed to find such patterns. It will take time.
Yeah, I know. I could use some rest anyway.
Understood. Search will run overnight.
Optimize the processes as much as you can. Good night, Evie.
Thank you. Good night.
Home sweet home. There's never enough time. This is Marie Tsu's speech when receiving a UN award. It was about AI, the future, and this building's design. They seem to be already using it. She seems to be quite optimistic on what can be done. I'm swimming in an infinite sea. I feel small, but at peace. I'm thinking how nice it is that I don't need to breathe. Then a silent, majestic creature appears in front of me. Its eyes show indifference, peace, wisdom. Its movement, slow and graceful. I feel like it's the universe itself, but it moves on. And then I'm left wondering, will I ever be able to follow it? I haven't slept well lately. After her mother died, we haven't been very close. She blames me for not being close enough, I think. For being too focused on my work, especially during my wife's last days. Carl sent me this.
You know what? I would never have thought that. It's amazing. It really is. I mean, your parents must be very proud. Congratulations to all of you.
Thanks, Phyllis.
Coming back to your work, you've been there from the beginning, am I right?
Yes, we were less than 15 people, I think. It was like 30 years ago, a few months after the company started.
And now you're head of technology.
That's right.
Amazing. So, before I ask you how smart you gotta be to do that, tell me, how did you guys move from being a small web research company with almost no investment into a company that leads on AI and pretty much every other technology for that matter?
Well, that's a big question.
But from a motivation perspective, what drove the evolution of the company? Was there a master plan from the beginning? Did you think you would expand to so many areas of tech?
Well, there are so many factors together. I mean, there's market share, emerging technologies, how what we already do can adapt to other markets, or let's say minimizing the risk, expanding. Of course, there was also the huge success we had at the beginning. That led us to decide pretty much where we wanted to go. But a master plan from the beginning, I don't think so.
But there is one now.
Well, you know, despite of what all the conspiracy memes tell you, there isn't. Just our strong core values.
Yeah, helping humanity with technology, being the good guys, yada yada.
Well, yeah, that's what we do. Yes.
I just remembered a picture I saw like 30 years ago, showing Bill Gates' head next to an alien skeleton. The magazine found all these similarities and urged you not to use Windows.
Well, I've seen thousands of those, and they won't go away. It's funny that despite all the good a company can do, how transparent it is, you just can't erase that.
It's just part of who we are.
Exactly.
But this leads us to one of the topics that has us here, right? Not everybody thinks you are on the right track, especially with the AI department. And we're not talking about your traditional conspiracy theory.
Yes.
And some of them are influential, well-respected people. I'm sure many know who I'm talking about. But yesterday, a letter appeared on the web, and it did cause a lot of noise. For the people hearing us now that don't know about it, it was from Mr. Carl Chasser, a very respected psychiatrist and scientist. This letter criticized GoAT's latest announcement, which did, in fact, make the world very, very happy and excited.
Not him, clearly.
Not him. Well, he criticized it for completely missing what's essential and saying it could lead to the worst step in our evolution ever taken.
Yeah, well...
And give me a second. Then he says a number of reasons why this shouldn't be accepted by governments, and goes on explaining in a very, if I may say, and this is only my opinion, in a very sort of poetic but cryptic way.
Well, to be honest, I wouldn't know where to start answering the letter, because the attacks are so surreal that we sort of would have to study the letter first and try to find out its meaning.
Yeah, it is cryptic.
Exactly. And you know what?
My
I'm
wife's
sorry to say
paintings.
this, but that is a very pedantic...
My wife's paintings.
Along some intellectuals, actually. I mean, when I try to explain something...
Laura's backpack. She's had it since high school. At this hour? What is this place? What have you got me into, Tom? There's never enough time. My wife's paintings. I think I recognize this luggage. Sometimes the best work happens at home.
all, we get to
I'll
make
consider
one
it.
with the land. Then he goes, our greater tools are not the ones we know best, but all the complexity that hides behind our minds. Here we are now, beautiful reptiles, so far away from being...
I should use it
thinking
more.
that because we found the trick behind the blurred sun, we now see far enough to define the range
A
of
note
what
from
can be
Laura.
seen, and the full reach of our desires.
I actually like the way he writes.
And the fact that he is a scientist also is what makes people follow him so much.
Well, that makes him intriguing, but does he give any real argument? Does he make any real point? Because you can't argue with poetry like that. That's not science. How much do we really know about his research, for example? I don't mean to discredit him or his partner, but we are talking about empiric, scientifically proved
I
improvements.
wonder what she's up to.
That can only do good. So really, this romanticism is beautiful, but empty. When we went to the moon, you could have written a beautiful poem about lost relationship. And I bet that
Evie, can you take a look at this letter? See if you can match that picture with anything.
Understood.
And if there are any fingerprints or any other clues you can extract.
I'll start with the picture. I have hardware limitations for most other tasks.
Yeah, I know. I'll build a decent scanner soon. Meanwhile, I'm sure my little project can be of some use.
I will try.
That's all I ask. Nothing else to put in there for now. I need to start over again. So, anything interesting on the search last night?
I found 2 parts of her lifeline that may help you, but only one is fully reconstructed. This one is a childhood memory that seems to be connected not only to the password, but also to her adult life. The other one is a recurring dream that started about 1 month ago, virtually every night. I'll need to brute force my way to a reconstruction for this dream. I'll notify you when I have something that can be uploaded.
Interesting. Upload the childhood memory in the meantime, and keep working on that dream. Evie, please activate the control panel Carl was working on. It might be easier now that we have more than one memory available.
Understood. And letter scan is in process. Nothing found yet.
Thanks. Keep me posted.